Hello guys, Master Sedge back, and today's topic, we are going to be looking at the top 20 most uninhabited places on the Earth by area. So, let's go and see the first one. Now, this is the biggest one we have ever seen. Now, it's obviously Antarctica. So, the size of Antarctica is 14 million kilometers per squared. So, now, as you can see over here, we have it is the coldest, driest continent, and then only seasonal scientific staff can go to Antarctica over here. Now, if you look down here, it says there's no permanent residents, but thousands of researchers stay at seasonal and year-round stations. So basically, Antarctica over here. We will be seeing Antarctica later in this video, but Antarctica, it's like the biggest uninhabited case of land area we have ever seen. Okay, so now let's move on to the next one. The next one is Greenland's ice sheet and inland. So all of this white area you're seeing over here is the inland of Greenland. And the outer areas is where all the cities are built. Well, except for Summit, obviously. So, the size of Greenland is 1,710,000 kilometers squared. Ice sheets cover 80% of Greenland, which is basically this white part over here. No permanent human settlements. So these cities, no people live there permanently. They live there temporarily. And it's a frigid year-round with permanent darkness. Yes, so as you know, in the Arctic Circle, which is basically this line right here. So, Greenland is basically, most of its land is northern of the Arctic Circle, which basically means that for 6 months it stays in complete darkness, and for 6 months it's in complete sunlight. So, it also hits sub-zero temperatures in winters, and 24 hours of sunlight with limited surface thaw during short summers. So, Greenland is, well, here's another fact. Greenland is an autonomous territory of Denmark. And recently, they finally got a border with Canada. That's really nice, right? Yeah, I know. But still, let's move on to the next country, which is actually also Greenland, except it's a region of Greenland. Okay. So, it's actually the Northeast Greenland National Park. The Northeast Greenland National Park is the biggest region of Greenland. So, let's see how big it is. It is 972,000 kilometers per squared. It is the world's largest national park. It has a zero permanent population. So this place over here is the most coldest part of Greenland. That is why nobody lives here. Now, it was established in 1974, and it was expanded in 1988. So, as you can see, the red part is the region itself. Now, this is very big, especially, but it's not the highest. That would be over here in Canada. Well, either way, Greenland is the second closest country to the North Pole. Well, let's move on to the next region. The next region is actually on the Arabian Peninsula. It's called Robakali. Um, Sorry for the mistake there. It's supposed to be this spelling, but it's a region in the Arabian Peninsula, and it is 600 550,000 kilometers per squared. It is a hyper-arid sand desert, hyper-extreme heat, and lack of water sources. But you know what else this has? It has the world's largest oil field, which is called Gwar. On its northern edge lies beneath the sand. So basically this region right over here that I've circled. So, the northern. So, this region is the only one you'll be seeing anywhere out of both of the poles. For the rest of this video, we will be in the poles. Yes, guys, we will be in the poles. Okay, well, next region. The next region we have is the Great Sandy Desert. Now, this region is right over here in Australia. Now, this region is like the most driest region. Now, this region is the most driest region in Australia, but it's the second biggest desert. I don't know which one's the first one because I haven't researched, so sorry about that, but the size of this is 284,000 kilometers squared. Now, we have extremely aridity and mobile sand dunes, which are called ergs over there, with no permanent towns. Now, this desert is home to the famous Kandi Malal, which is a Wolf Creek meteorite impact, which is roughly 875 meters wide. So this is basically a meteorite impact. So it would be like a crater, basically. So, shall we move on to the next one? Yeah, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so the next one we have is Devon Island in Nunavut, Canada. So this region you're seeing here, Nunavut, you're gonna be seeing a lot in this video because this is basically the region of Canada. I'm trying to draw its borders, but that's what I think it looks like. But either way, if you see the highlighted part, that is Devon Island. The size of this island is 55,427 kilometers squared. It is the world's largest uninhabited island. And it also has an impact crater called Houghton. A 23-kilometer wide meteor impact structure formed around 39 million years ago. That was probably after the dinosaurs. But that was not the meteor that wiped out the dinosaurs. That is down in Mexico, which we can't see Mexico. That's why. So now after that, we are also gonna have another one in Nunavut, Canada. Oh wait, no, sorry. That's a different one. Sorry. Now we have Severny Island in Russia. Most of you would know this island, and it is famous for what happened on October 30th, 1961. But we will get there soon. For now, let's read out the size. The size is 48,904 kilometers squared. Now, it has high Arctic ice caps. Now, time to explain what happened on October 30th, 1961. The Soviet Union, which were at the time in control of this island, detonated the Tsar Bomba. So, if you know what the Tsar Bomba is, comment down below. and they detonated it over the dry zone of Severny Island. So if I'm guessing where that is, I'm guessing it's this top bit up here, but I don't know, guys, honestly, because that's why we have this. So after that, it was the most powerful nuclear weapon ever, yielding 50 megatons. This is why this weapon was never used, guys. This is why this weapon was never used. It's honestly crazy, but we don't want to be seeing any of those nukes in today's world. So, next region we have is Axel Heiberg Island. Now, Axel Heiberg Island is up here, as you can see, with this over here. As you can see, that red part. So, the size of this island is 43,178 kilometers squared. Now, it is a high Arctic island with severe weather, used only for temporary research. It is world famous for its preserved Econe fossil forests, where 45 million years old wood is mummified rather than petrified. So, to be honest, I don't know what mummified means, but I do know what petrified means. So, guess so mummified means like it's just kept pristine, like it's been there for like very long time. 45 million years old, that's probably when the dinosaurs were around. That was like crazy, guys. Dinosaurs around that time when this island was around. Well, I guess so the continent was shifting a lot. Well, either way, next region. The next region is Melville Island. We're still in Canada. Yep. It is in Nunavut, Canada. So, the size of this island is 42,149 kilometers squared. Now, this island was discovered in 1819 by explorer Sir William Parry. Now, this island right here, do you see it? This island is left alone for like very obvious reasons. I don't know why, but still, we can still, if you can see right here, that island is right next to Devon Island and the other islands we were talking about. But either way, now let's see the next region. The next region we have is Southampton Island in Canada. Now, this island is much more closer down to Canada, which means it would be inhabited by someone, at least someone, in the past. So the size of this island was 41,214 kilometers squared. Now, this island was home to the Inuit community of Coral Harbor, Salik, which around 1,000 residents, So this island used to have residents, but then they just left because the island started to become like really freezing. That's why they just left. They were like, bye bye. Okay, next region. Now the next region we have is the Prince of Wales Island. Now, I was really not sure if this is in Alaska or Canada, but I just said it was in Alaska, which means it's USA. So, the size of this one is 33,339 kilometers squared. Now, this was found in 1851 while searching for the lost Franklin expedition. Now, this expedition, I don't know where they got lost, but they were exploring America a lot at that time. Because I think it was in colonial ages at that time. Spain and Portugal, all of them going around. Yeah. Well, now we will move on to the next region. The next region we have is Somerset Island in Canada again. So, the size of this island was 24,786 kilometers squared. Now, the Fort Roast. Now, Canadians might have heard about Fort Rose. You guys who are still in school, you might have learned about that in Canadian history. But still, let's talk about it. So it's an abandoned Hudson's Bay company, trading post at the southern tip, active from 1937 to 1948. So it was active for most of World War II. Now, if you don't know what happened in World War II, yeah, you don't want to know what happened in World War II. Well, either way, there is the island right there, as you can see. So it's in dark green. It's off the tip of a peninsula. I forgot what the name of the peninsula was, but either way, let's move on to the next region. The next region is Komsomolets Island in Russia. Now, the size of this island was 9,006 kilometers squared, home to the massive Academy of Science Glacier. That was the only information I could find, to be honest. So, this island is located at the top of Russia, as you know. So, that's right there is the island, as you can see right there. But I don't think so there's any other story about this island, so let's move on to the next region. The next region is October Revolution Island in Russia. So, this is the island, as you can see right there. Now, the size is 14,170 kilometers squared. More than half of the land is covered in ice domes, including the massive Karpinsky Glacier. Now, the Karpinsky Glacier is the tallest point of this island, at 658 feet off the ground of sea level. So, this island is between the Laptev Sea, as you can see up here, and the Kara Sea over here. So, there is also a Russian name for this, but I don't know how to pronounce it. For all my Russian fans out there, could you please teach me how to pronounce it? Alright, so let's go to the next one. The next one we have is Edgoya. Now, this is in Svalbard, Norway. Now, this is the only island we're going to be including in this whole video from Norway. Now, this island is 5,073 kilometers squared. Now, glaciers cover the east side of the island. So, like, this part of the island is, like, covered in, like, complete glaciers. And then this side is, like, flat. Like, the west side's flat. Then I'm guessing the north is also mountains. And in the south, there's, like, a few peninsulas that are mountains. But it only seems like the west is, like, flat off. But I've never been to, like, Norway and stuff. Not even Svalbard. But, if you want to just search up Svalbard on Google, and it should be able to show you a picture of it. It's basically like an island above, like really above Norway in the Arctic Circle. Well, now let's us move to the next one. The next one is Improvement District number 25 in Alberta, Canada. So the region is right here. So, this one is 4,601 kilometers squared. This one has a permanent population of 0. And also this region in particular is managed by the government itself, because this region is used to bring more people above into the upper regions of Canada. So that's why we're building more of these. And this one in particular is very empty. Probably failed. Well, let's move on to the next one. Now we're on Great Barrier Island in New Zealand. The size of this island is 6,675 kilometers squared. It acts like a barrier protecting the Hauraki Gulf. So as you can see right there, there's the Gulf. There's the island. And I'm guessing the Gulf is like this, there's like a line there. And then this is the northern island. This is the northern island of New Zealand. And this island is 100 kilometers away from Auckland, the city. That was supposed to be the capital, but it's actually at Wellington down here. But let's move on to the next region. The next region is Coates Island down here. It's very small, that's why I'm circling for you guys. Yep, so Coates Island is 5,498 kilometers squared. And what happened to this island? So permanent human settlements dwindled, and the last permanent residents left the island in 1970s. Today's portion of the lands are owned by local Inuit associations. So Inuit, if you remember from the one of the slides from before, there were a tribe that took over another island that's close to here. I think so. It was Devon Island. No, not Devon Island. I don't remember, to be honest. But either way, we have a few more regions before we end. Okay. Now the Tweedsmuir South Provincial Park. Now this one's also in British Columbia, Canada. Now the size of this island is 3,820 kilometers squared. Home to Hullin Falls, one of Canada's highest single drop waterfalls, plunging over 260 meters into a deep canyon. Now the mountain ranges over here feature the stunning multicolored volcanic rock of the Rainbow Range, and then the jagged peaks of the coast mountains, including the Monarch Mountains, 3,555 meters up above sea level. So now we have the last one, Alexander Island in Antarctica. Guys, I told you Antarctica would return one last time. Now the size of this one is 49,070 kilometers squared, right there, as you can see, near Graham Lane. Alexander Island is the largest island in Antarctica and is the second largest uninhabited island in the world. Located in the Bellingshausen Sea, and connected to the Antarctic Peninsula by a massive ice shelf. It spans roughly 390 kilometers, 240 miles long. Guys, so look, you never know, Antarctica's this big. It looks small on the map, but it's very big. So like there could be like bases everywhere, like on the coast, is like right there, as you can see. Okay, well, thank you guys for watching my video. I hope you have a fun time. As you know, I do geography videos from my description. So I do geography videos, mostly shorts, but sometimes I do videos. So if you want to see more of these videos, please like and subscribe, and help us reach 200 subs, because right now we're at 134 subs. And shout out to our newest subscriber, Omer. He's from Kosovo, so shout out to you, and I guess so I'll see you later, alright? Bye-bye!